Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from Passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to All for United as we react to the 3-2 win at Old Trafford for Man United against Norwich. So I've got with me today Stu, Satty and Michael, who's going to discuss all the ins and outs from the game. So without further ado, the initial reactions to the result and possibly the formation. Obviously, I know Stu and Satty were with me on the pre-match to discuss the formations and the expectations there. Just I'll start with Stu. Kind of, how did you feel generally the game went, and was there any surprises with the initial formation?
Yeah, well, I think the formation took us all by surprise. Let's be fair about that. I mean, we speculated that Lingard would come in, potentially could come in, but there would have to be a difference in personnel for that to, for it to allow that. We also said, don't forget that there's no way, and I'll stand by this, Pogba and Fernandes can play in the same side. When you don't have a hold in midfield, it was almost impossible anyway. What was always going to happen was balance. And I sent a message to the group before about the balance of the side. Yes, it's overly offensive, but you're taking into account that we're just going to go and steamroller, the opposition if you go with that type of formation. And we just haven't been playing well enough at all this season, right across the season, to enable us to do that. But I can understand Ranić wanting to shake it up. He got limited options in there. My preference was to bring Mata in right from the start, as you well know, play Matic, drop Pogba and have Mata in as a 10, Bruno as an 8. I think that would have been far better for us from a balance perspective. We'd have opened up Norwich a lot more than what we did. But people will argue, well, we created enough chances not to worry about that. But then you've got the fitness issue. And when you've got a lazy player like Pogba, you have lazy players like Bruno. And Bruno, as decent as he was today, was lazy on occasions. And you've got issues at fullback with Dalot and Telles. And Dalot in particular, he just doesn't know what to do. He can't tackle. I mean, if you think about their first goal, he was, Dalot had him squared up on the throwing line. And all you got to do is raise your foot slightly, take one step forward, put a decent tackle in, and you stop the challenge. Or you show him down the left, or our right as it was. But we don't do that. And therein lies, by the way, one massive issue for the centre halves. Whoever's playing centre half is because Dalot's so easily beaten or Telles is so easily beaten. The centre halves have got to come across, because if you don't come across, you're allowing travelling distance from the time that Dalot's beaten or Telles is beaten, the 10 or 15 yards to get into the area that the opposition want to be, and it's then too late for Maguire, Lindelof, whoever to come across and cover. And so there's a multitude of errors, for both their goals. And to be fair, I'm amazed Norwich, if they got a decent striker, we would have been 4-2 down at one point. Let's be clear about this. And so today's result really will mean absolutely nothing until we go ahead and beat Liverpool Tuesday night. And the rate that Liverpool are playing today, it's going to be very, 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 very difficult for us to get anything from it. So we've got lucky again today with the results with Tottenham. I think Arsenal were losing. I haven't seen the final result yet. But they were 1-0 down, weren't they? They lost today. Okay. Yeah. So, it's playing into our hands again. So is top four out the question? No. Have we got to relook at what we do as a team? Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I mean, it was there's obviously been frailties all season, hasn't there, Stu? And once again, we'll come on to the Spurs and Arsenal results as well, and whether we all feel as if top four is still a carrot to be clutched at. But Michael, what were your kind of thoughts on the formation and equally the performance as well? Were there any surprises for you?
Oh yeah, so when I woke up, I saw the lineup and I saw Lingard, Bruno, Pogba midfield. I was really shocked by that. I figured that Matic would kind of get the start, you would think, with McTominay and Fred out. But I guess Ralph wanted to – I think he said something about that we haven't been creating enough chances lately. So he went with that midfield. I was shocked by that. The rest of the personnel I really wasn't shocked by, so it's just the midfield. And as for the performance, not surprised. I mean, United haven't been good for like a month and a half now. We haven't really had a good performance in that long. So, oh yeah, is that better?
Yeah, we can see you now. Yeah,
Much
yeah.
better, mate. Much better.
No problem. My bad. But yeah, for the performance, I thought like Stu said, the fullbacks were terrible. I have an agenda against Alex here, so that guy just pisses me off to so much. But yeah, I thought Norwich if they had better attackers, they probably could have pummeled us like 5 goals past them. But I was glad by De Gea early on, like he kind of went off his line. Maybe he heard Ten Hag rumors were coming in, so he's like, let me jump off my line in this game. So that was good to see. That's my biggest issue by him. So that's good as well. And then the midfield, Pogba did his best as a holding six to like the best of his capabilities. It's not the position that he wants to play. There was a video last year, if you guys remember, against Roma, where he said, "I can't tackle." So it's probably not the smartest thing to play someone that can't tackle as a lone six. Yeah, the penalty against Bellerin. Yeah, there's so many mistakes by Pogba defensively, as good as he is offensively. And then the attack, Ronaldo. Obviously, we'll probably talk more about him later. The hat trick hero. And yeah, just a decent performance. But if we play like this against Liverpool, we're losing like 9-0. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And Abdullah, if you're okay, I'll jump to Sati just because he was patiently waiting there, mate, and then we'll come to you at the end. But then we'll mix it up. But that's okay. But yeah, Sati, just again, what were your thoughts on the performance? Obviously, we'll touch on Ronaldo as Michael said there, because I think he deserves 10 minutes from us all just to talk about his performance again. So, but yeah, generally, how did you feel?
I think first and foremost, I'm just glad we've got a win. Like we've had one in like the last 7-8 games that we've played. Like it's glad that we got the 3 points on the board, but it just paper overs the existing cracks, and I think that's what the biggest issue is. It's just the performance-wise, the fullbacks, they can't, before they even think about attacking, you got to master defending. You got to do the basics right. Like you're getting caught man on, you're getting caught goal side, just little things like that. You're trying to play this progressive sort of pressing football, but you can't leave space in behind and rely on Maguire and Lindelof. They're not Van Dijk and sort of Matip, for example, or City's defenders who can do that. They're not pacey defenders, and this is what the issue is. Tellez caught out of position most of the game. Same with Dalot. So, and then even when he moved to left back, when Elanga went right back, Elanga made more tackles than Dalot did the whole game, and that's shocking. He was our winger, but it's just, again, the thing was when the lineup did come out, and I thought, okay, Lingard, I knew he was going to be involved in the midfield, and it was nice to see him get a run out, but the balance was just all over the place. It was just Norwich should have been 1-0 up before we scored. Pukki should have. Fair play to De Gea. I haven't seen him come out like that for a while, not a lot. And he made a really, really important 2 saves. If you look at the one in the second half when it was 2-2, he made a really important save there. But again, we relied on Ronaldo. Brilliant free kick, lovely finish. But it just wasn't good enough overall. I mean, even the penetration from the wingers, Sancho, just felt that they didn't want to drive at the defenders. They didn't want to. They're frightened again, like clueless, like what we said pre-match, in the same as the Everton game. They just didn't want to drive and have a chance. And the only one who actually did come on and got things clicking was Mata. He come on and he actually started dictating the tempo. He started like rallying the troops, trying to get them all back together. And he was the only one, I can say, that actually brought a bit of composure to the team, which he naturally does. And if that's what he will bring, he might have to be utilised going forward. Matic, as soon as he come on, it was almost like a little bit of a structural sort of balance within the side. But he didn't have the legs. They literally strung 2-3 passes and they were at nearly our goal line. And that's what the biggest issue is that how easy these teams come into Old Trafford, even when we're playing away, they're 2-3 passes and they've already got an attack on goal. With us, it's build up, it's slow, it's back, it's forward. And again, like I said, I'm happy that we got the points. I'm happy that we got the win, but it's just papering over the cracks. I just want this season to just finish as soon as possible. That's a reflection on today.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a shame. I think we spoke about in the pre-match, didn't we, about the hopeful involvement of Mata, and eventually he came on, and that was interesting, wasn't it? And as you said there, he made the cogs turn a little bit. So, but yeah, other than that, not so many surprising sort of changes. I mean, Abdul, how did you find the game? Were you kind of surprised to see many changes in the formation or the result to be what you kind of expected? How did you feel overall?
When I saw the lineup, I had to check like 5 times to make sure that it was correct, because that was basically saying we're gonna play with no midfield. All of you attack and just hope to God that we win, and we score a lot of goals. That's what I thought it was. And to be frank, it was like that. Like, we were completely open. It's just that Norwich was really, really, really bad. Like, if Norwich was just a tiny bit better, we could have lost that game. But they were really bad. So when I looked at that lineup, I was like, it's either gonna end like a 4-2, 4-3, something like that, or every attack we're gonna concede, and we're just gonna try to conjure up something, and they're defending deep, and we won't be able to score. And like from the first moment, you saw how easy it was for Pukki just to go through one goal. The funny part was he actually outpaced Tellus. So I was like, wow, are you that slow? That was so funny. Because Pukki is older than him by 3 years. So it's like, wow, even Pukki outpaced you. So I did not rate Tellus before. Now I didn't even rate him more. So that was even funny, because he was in possession. It's not that he was out of possession. It's just that Pukki outpaced him. So it was funny to see that. And then the first goal they saw was just a textbook, no DM and no winger tracking back. Simple as that. Like, I remember,
Exactly right.
I remember the goal very well. So Alanga tracked back and was helping Della, and then because one of their wide forwards got behind their fullback, Lindelof had to cover Dalot, so he moved out, and then that drags the defensive line a little bit more. Now the problem is you need your winger to track back from the other side, or there's an overload on the other side. But neither the DM tracked the third man run, which is he left it for Maguire, and Maguire couldn't because there was another man on him. So that means Lindelof has 2 to deal with, and you saw Lindelof, he was like in between 2 Norwich players. He didn't know what to do. And the last man over there was Sancho. Sancho was tracking back the wrong guy. Like, and anyway, he came in very, very late. So it doesn't matter even if he was tracking somebody. So it's just a textbook. Your winger's not tracking people back, and no cover from DM. Pogba just didn't know that he had to cover that guy, so he left them to Lindelof, who had already someone else. But like, I mean, it's been an issue that we've been talking about for what, 2 years, 3 years now, ever since Carrick or Matic. Like, after the first season of Matic, we've been talking about we need a replacement. So yeah, like if we play like this against Liverpool, I don't even want to see the score.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's control, isn't it? Controlling games. I mean, you don't expect to control games against Liverpool or Man City at this moment in time, but against Norwich, when you're 2-0 up, they're the games you should really be controlling. I mean, aside from the obvious negatives across the panel today, there is some positives. We did get 3 points. A comment there from Mike Juru just saying 3 points, guys. I mean, obviously the results around us as well were positive. So there is some positive to take from it, as much as it's not the typical football that we've been used to over the recent sort of decade or whatever else. But yeah, Stu, what do you think? It's 3 points. There's still a chance of top 4. What do you reckon? Do you think it's possible? Yeah.
Well, I always say you make your own look in football, because you do. It's down to you to affect everything that happens on the pitch. And I think we rode our luck exceptionally well today. As everyone has pointed out, with a better opposition, we would have been in a lot of trouble, or sharper strikers been in a lot of trouble. I think if I was Ranić, I would go radical against Liverpool. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, over the weekend at some point, but it's something that I would do. And I think the shining light today was Mata. Sati was right. We called it on Thursday whenever we did the preview. Was it Thursday, Friday? I can't remember when it was now. And I think he was our shining light because he offers that stability, offers that calmness, that guile, that element of guile that at the moment Bruno's forgetting and Pogba just can't be bothered with. And when he can be, Pogba offers a lot more than what he's been showing recently. So I think the problem with Matic when he came on, Sati, was the fact that because of his age and you're against quite a mobile midfield, it takes time for you to get up to speed in a game of football. Even though you are a professional player, it takes a long time to do it. And Matic was always going to struggle with that. It's easier to bring Matic and start him than it is to bring him on with 20 minutes to go, purely for that reason. But I think with Mata, you can decide what you do with him because he's got that ability, as I say, to be able to do it. When you look at what Liverpool will bring to the party on Tuesday, they've got Fabinho. Now, Fabinho is not rapid by any stretch of the imagination. Jordan Henderson isn't rapid. What they do, they control Liverpool's play. What Mata did today was actually control our play. He controlled our playing style and our playing pace. And that's what we need. We need somebody who can do that. It's been a long, long time since Bruno has actually gone in and controlled our style and pace. So we need somebody like Mata right from the beginning. Whatever we do moving forward when Ten Hag comes in, he needs that type of player that can control pace as well as our style, and Mata will do that. So positives for me were Mata. It's got nothing to do with what I called for him on the previous show. He just kind of proved my point a little bit because he got that wherewithal. You need experience. Whatever you do in any walk of life, you have to have experience. And when somebody like Mata, who's been it, seen it, done it, walks onto the pitch, he's had very, very little game time, but can change little tiny pieces of what you do during that 10 or 15 minute cameo that he's gone. It just goes to show where we're at with him. So that's it for me, I'm afraid, Reece. That was my only bit of positive news that I can bring. Or thoughts, anyway. That's my.
No, that's fine. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with you really. I mean, I think it's been a tough season, hasn't it? But there is still some ray of light in the shade, and that is the top four. And Michael, do you think we'll get it?
Sorry, I was just going to say our problem with that, Reece, is we've got two games. We've got Liverpool, which we desperately need a result, and then we've got Arsenal Saturday lunchtime, haven't we? So for us, it's a critical week. Whatever happens, sorry, Michael, I'll be done in a minute, pal. Whatever happens here will determine what we do. It's these two games will determine our top four path. Sorry, pal.
No. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's. I think frustratingly, I think we could have been a lot. Had this wrapped up a lot sooner, couldn't we? I think with fixtures in the past, I think that the fact that it's coming down to these big games. I mean, it's a big game against Liverpool, whether it be a friendly or whether it be for top four. So, but no, you're right, Stu, and obviously we've still got to play for it. The fact that it's Liverpool makes it a little bit bittersweet, depending on how the result goes. So, yeah, I mean, Michael, what do you think? Do you think we've got a chance of top four still, or not?
Before today, I probably would have told you no, but I didn't expect Spurs to lose to Brighton. I didn't expect Arsenal to lose to Southampton, so that kind of changes a lot of things for me. I'm like, because I expect them to get those points. So I do think we have a chance because no one wants this top four. It's like 2018-19 all over again. Yeah, everyone just wants to not get it. So obviously United should have a chance. Like you said, we should have had this wrapped up because if you looked at the drop points that we've had, Watford, Everton, Leicester, Southampton, Villa, etc., so many teams that we dropped points to. We should have actually been competing with Chelsea for third place when you really look at it. But we're lying in our own bed. But the Liverpool game, I don't expect a result. At the form they're in, they're going to batter us, in my opinion. At the very least, we could keep like a 2-0, 3-0. I have no positivity for that game. The big one, like Stu said, is next weekend against Arsenal. That is a 6-pointer. So if we beat them, I think the team will actually ride that confidence into like the later fixtures. So yeah, we have a chance. I think it'll come down to like the last 2 weekends. So it's just it's up to the players if they really want it and if they have the intensity to do it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree with you, Michael. I think it makes it tougher that it's Liverpool. Obviously, there's a couple of reasons why we obviously want to win that game. It's going to be tough. I mean, I've just seen the result from the City game. I saw it at least at half time, and they were cruising against City. Albeit, I'm not sure what.
3-2 now.
Who was that, you? Sorry, 3-2.
It's 3-2 now. Yeah.
Right.
There's a couple of minutes to go.
Wow. Yeah. So unbelievable standard that them two teams are at the minute, and obviously for Liverpool, they've still got the league in mind. So we've obviously got to put a good performance in. But Abdul, what do you think? Top four, is it still on? Obviously, I know Liverpool's a big game, as Stu said, and Arsenal a week after, a few days after. So what do you reckon? Is it still on?
The thing is, my only worry is Tottenham because they have the easiest running. But us, we have like Chelsea and Liverpool. To me, in the back of my head, these are losses. So if we win Arsenal, then we might. If we win Arsenal, we might have a chance because, like Michael was saying, they might actually believe they can get it, so they'll up their performance a little bit. But if we really get bad by Liverpool and Chelsea, it also could like capitulate them even more because of like they'll lose confidence. So I'm not sure. I've written us off from top four, and to be honest, I don't see the point of us getting top four because like we're not a good team to be in the Champions League anyway. But we'll see. There is a possibility. There's always a possibility. Weirder things in football have happened,
Yeah, and Sati, what do you think? Do you think we're still in with a chance?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first time we've actually sort of capitalised on the teams around us actually dropping points, and I think that's sort of one encouraging prospect is that we actually have sort of capitalised and we actually got our 3 points today when everyone else dropped points around us. But we've left ourselves in a position where we're playing catch up. I believe as well after our game against Liverpool, it's Chelsea Arsenal as well this week at Stamford Bridge. So it's a bigger incentive even to nick a point even at Anfield if we can. Very unlikely, but you can never say never. Like even if we get a point at that game and say Arsenal and Chelsea draw, Arsenal and Chelsea lose, we put ourselves in a nice position going into Saturday that we could have a chance of actually doing something special. But I think we've left it too late. We left it too late. We've just got ourselves to blame. I've written it off when we actually. I've written it off on the Leicester game. I thought that was a chance where if we had managed to get the extra 2 points and then we could have gone into Everton, I think then we could have been saying to ourselves in this position, do you know what? We could actually maybe get something here. Even the comment here, what is true, what it's saying, Liverpool is a free hit for us. Whatever we do or whatever happens, if we can go out there, we should just give our all. We should look at the opposition and think, oh, they're in the semi-finals of the Champions League or the final of the FA Cup now, which is what it's looking likely. We should just go out there and just perform. Like just give our all performance. A big shame is if they are unfit is going to be Scott and Fred, because that game does require a lot of energy, and that's what I do fear for us the most is the midfield battle. But I think top four is a bit out of our reach at the moment. I think it's just, again, we're just waiting for teams around us rather than what we can do. We can just only take each game as it comes, keep trying to win, keep trying to get as many possible points as we can. But again, I feel like it's not in our hands.
No, that's a fair assessment. So, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you either, to be honest. My views on it are, with the reset coming and I think with players leaving, that it could be time for us to take a bit, take fewer games next season and give the players a chance to kind of recuperate and reset again. But no, I mean, in terms of the performances from the game, really, obviously, the one standout performance, I think we all kind of know who this fella is. But obviously, for next season, Ten Hag, there's been rumours that Ten Hag hasn't got Ronaldo in mind. But with a performance like that, Stu, is that a daft thing to isolate Ronaldo from a team next season?
No, I think it's time to say goodbye in the summer to our great Cristiano. I think every fan has got a warmth towards him for what he's done for us in the past. It probably wasn't the right time, certainly the right squad for Cristiano Ronaldo to come back to us. Me and Abdel had done loads of tactical previews, and we surprised ourselves one day, months ago, when we both said that it wasn't right. Ronaldo needs to come out of the equation unless Martial was played alongside him, because Martial's a much better foil for Ronaldo as a player. So I think Ten Hag, if I was him, I'd do one or two things with him. I'd either move him into some kind of coaching role if he wants to retire, or if he doesn't want to go and play in America somewhere, MLS, keep him around the squad, or I'd remove him completely out of the equation and say thank you, but it's time to move on. Now, you see loads and loads of tweets, oh, Ronaldo is the problem for Norwich and all this kind of stuff. Well, it's a basic lack of knowledge, I'm afraid, of football, because football doesn't revolve around one particular player. It revolves around the team, and it revolves around balance and movement, and being able to get the right player at the right time to find the right pass for the right runner to get him behind or get you goals. And unfortunately for Cristiano, he's not where he was when we signed him as a 17-year-old and bamboozled everybody at Old Trafford that day against Bolton. He's something completely different now. He is absolutely, will go down as one of the best players in football of our generation. I think it's very difficult to say of all time, but certainly of our generation. So, through my pairs of eyes, he's been one of the very, very best. But that doesn't guarantee that he's going to fit exactly what you need to do as a team. And unfortunately, he doesn't, Reece. So as much as a backlash I'll get, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet, get shot a couple of times, get up and get on with it. And that's what I think we should do with Ronaldo. But today, hat-trick, hey, you can't argue with that, can you? Come on.
No. You give him the service, he'll score your goals, won't he? But I can understand your reasoning. I think in terms of what's coming through behind in the setup and the youth setup, then Ronaldo's leaving it hopefully in fairly good hands in that position, isn't he? With your McNeils and people like that coming through. So, Michael, what do you reckon? Obviously, Ronaldo, good performance today. Were you pleased to see him score another hat-trick for United? What's that, his third hat-trick now for Man United? 2 this season already?
Before I get into my criticism of Ronaldo in terms of the future, I want to big him up for the hat trick. That free kick made me feel like I was 8 years old again watching him score the free kick. Because in my United chat, Robbie, who sent the super chat, was like, watch Ronaldo score this free kick. And I'm like, Ronaldo free kick, laughing emoji, because he hasn't scored one in 3 years. Every time he hits a free kick, it hits the wall. And right as I sent that, he scored. I was like, wow. And the knuckleball, all that made me feel happy. And that hat trick against Spurs was also special because of where I was. But like Stu said, I think it is time to bite the bullet and get rid of him. When we signed him in August, I was happy because he's the guy that made me fall in love with United. So he's my favorite player of all time, all that. But I was questioning whether he would fit into this team. And we kind of seen this year that he doesn't completely fit. He's not the problem. A lot of people on Twitter have been saying, oh, we would be a lot better if Ronaldo wasn't there this year. I disagree with that. I just think the team as a whole has been horrible. It's not fair to just place the blame on one player. But I do see the drawbacks with him. I've been studying Ten Hag since October, ever since Ole got sacked. I'm we might get him in. So Ten Hag will want as striker someone that will press, be able to hold up the ball, get other people involved. That is Ronaldo's weakness. So he can only play as a striker in a 2-man up top, and Ten Hag doesn't play a 2-man up top, and United haven't played that in a while. So, like Stu said, if Ronaldo is willing to take a seat back a little bit and not want to demand to play every game, because he's the type of player, even though he is 30, going to be 30 years old, he wants to play every single game, every single minute. You see him when he gets subbed off at that Brentford game, he was cussing out Ralph. So if he could take the step back, then let him stay the last year of his contract next year. If not, I think he might want to leave because he will want UCL football. He is king of UCL. He wants to add one more. So if him and his agent can get him to another big club, he'll leave. If not, he might stay. And then hopefully he's kind of willing to take that seat back and let whatever striker we buy in the summer kind of split the role with him.
Yeah, I think wages might be a massive issue. I mean, I'm still reeling from the fact that you were 8 when Ronaldo was at United. I think I was 18, but
So
Stu,
am I.
you might be seeing a lot different.
Yeah, well, a bit older, I'm afraid. I won't tell you what, but I was a bit older. 8 years old.
Abdul, what do you reckon? Good performance from Ronaldo. Obviously, you know, he's not the future answer, is he? Let's be honest. And I think it hasn't necessarily worked this season, has it? But you know, we're obviously reviewing this match, reviewing this game. 3-2, Ronaldo hat trick. So, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, when you score a hat trick, you really can't say much about against him, right? But like it was as a performance, it was okay. But with the goals, of course, it makes it good. And especially with the free kick, because this is like, I don't know, 200 something attempt, and he haven't scored one.
Something like that,
Yeah. So the thing
Miraculous how
is
they're
with
still he's still in the.
yeah, the
I was
thing
going to
is
say
with
it's
Ronaldo,
miraculous how they
bro.
still let him take one.
yeah.
He's Ronaldo. He has that stature. People can't tell him no. So that's the thing. The thing is with him though is that, like Michael was saying earlier, he's not involved in the play as much. You know, like, oh yeah, one time he might have a good pass or lay off a ball, but like that's one time in the entire match or 2 times max. He's just like a finish it kind of guy right now. That's it. Like, you know, give me the ball at the edge of the box or inside the box, I'll finish it for you, and that's it. And in the modern game right now, you need strikers that are more well-rounded. Like actually scoring goals became the last thing on the list for the strikers now. You know, like I mean, look at City for example. None of them are like the highest goal-scoring strikers. Look at Liverpool; it's their wingers. So, I mean, if you can get a complete center forward that can do both, amazing. But usually there isn't much. Like Benzema is a rarity right now. Like he's doing all of the center forward work and scoring the goals. So Ronaldo isn't just he's just never been that guy. You know, that's the thing. So you can't build a team around him. You just can't. And Ten Hag definitely won't.
Just for that
Yeah.
comment there, Abdul, do you want to answer that comment second half of that? So, who do you reckon might be a possible replacement to Ronaldo next season? Do you want to answer the second half of that?
I don't have a name in my head, but we need a Benzema Firmino type profile. That's the profile that we're looking for, basically. I don't have a name off the top of my head, but like Darwin Nunez, not the guy, by the way. Like if I started looking into him, because I haven't watched him very much, but I started looking into him. He's not the guy to do that for us. Martial was, but Martial was not consistent. And that's the problem with Martial. Martial had the profile to link up play, to bring people into play, to let the wingers do the goal scoring, and him will be the facilitator. But he just wasn't consistent enough. So that's the profile we're looking for. Yeah, what more do you want from the guy? Sure, but the problem is he will score the goals, but the team as a functioning unit is not working well. You know, for that comment, like as a functioning unit, you look at us. We can't string play. We can't hold. We can't control it in the final third because our head is not the type of guy that can control the ball in the final third. We added way too many people that are intricate just so we can hold it. Like you had to have Sancho, Lingard, Pogba, Bruno, and Bruno is not really the most intricate guy in the world anyway, too, just so that you hold it in the final third. All of this because Ronaldo can't link up the play because he's the central player, you know. So if you want to be a Liverpool, a City, that level, you can't have a Ronaldo in your team. He will score the goals, get the headlines, and no one ever doubted that. But that's not the point. You know, so yeah.
I agree. I think, you know, I don't want to talk too much about that, but obviously the Ronaldo incident at the Everton game the other week is an example of kind of what we don't need in the team, you know. And I think people can hark back to examples of sort of Cantona's moment of madness really as well. But I think we knew what we were getting with Cantona a little bit. I think with the Ronaldo thing, sometimes there's a bit of petulance to that, and I think that the team need a little bit of more cohesion and some guidance, don't they? So, yeah, great performance from Ronnie today. But I think equally, you know, we're looking beyond that as well, aren't we, into next year? And I could totally agree, Abdul, 100% agree. So have you got some thoughts on that as well? Obviously great performance from Ron today, but yeah.
Yeah, I think with Cristiano, he's come in and done the job that he was required to do at Manchester United. He's our top goal scorer. If you take out his goals, we would be in obviously a lot of a worse position right now. United started the season with Martial, Greenwood, Rashford, Elanga, Cristiano Ronaldo as our attackers, which any of them could have led the line and could have played. We are now down to and Cavani, and now we're down to just one, who is actually the only person that can do it. As in, not to say that he is doing it, but he's overplayed more than what he probably imagined to play. I mean, I read an article saying that he was more inclined for next season to know that he couldn't fulfill the 38 games, and he knew that he needed to have a sit out at some stage of the season, as well as playing with two strikers. Now, for me, when we signed him, in hindsight, it probably wasn't a signing that was in the right direction for Manchester United going forward. We needed that young, prolific goal scorer who, I think what Abdul just said there. We need someone who can link up the play, who is going to bring in other players as well. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. I think we wanted Haaland, we wanted players like that. But again, are they the type to be that sort of player like Benzema? They're not. There's not many out there who is an all-rounded. The only one that is, and a lot of people do turn their nose up to him, is Harry Kane. And for all his goodness of the goals he gets, how he builds the team around Kane, he does provide for the other players as well. And he's the only one, as well as Benzema, that are on that level, in my opinion, that are the complete striker and that number 9 role. There's not many out there. I mean, when you look at the teams like Liverpool and City, they all play fluidity, but all their attackers know their roles and their jobs. With ours, we don't. And I think that's another big problem as to why sort of Ronaldo's just been a bit of a hindrance towards the system this season too. I mean, I can't knock him, 37 years old, coming to the Premier League. And what's that? I think is that his 20th goal this season for us, or along those lines? Yeah. So I think for the best for both parties, this should be his last season at United. And I think it should be. Whether or not we get another striker in the summer, that's another question. But I do think he deserves the plaudits today, because you know what? He's the one who saved us. He got us the 3 points, and finally he scored a free kick. So I'm just happy about that. But I think going forward, he should. This should be his last season at United, and we should be looking for more the future now.
Yeah, if I may say something on this, by the way. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Steve, if you want.
I was just going to say, I'd take a punt on Tammy Abraham in the summer. I think it'd be ideal for us at the minute. He's still at a moldable age.
Not a bad shout.
He's big, tall, scoring a lot of goals in Italy. And the other one, and I know this isn't going to go down well at all, but you've got to look at the type of manager we're going to have in, and that is Timo Werner. He's a better player than he's showing for Chelsea. He's got a better strike rate than what he's showing for Chelsea. And I think the right manager and the right team around him could do very well. But my top choice would be, and I think we could get him at a reasonable price, would be Tammy Abraham. I'm with you, by the way, guys, on Nunes. I think you're absolutely right. I don't think his approach plays, hold-up plays, anywhere near what we need.
Even as fast as Ronaldo.
Stu, sorry to interrupt. Do you think do you think Tammy will be able to still do it in this league now, coming back from Roma?
That's my thoughts. I was just about to say that. I think it's a really good point. No, it's a really good point, because I get what you're saying. It's very, very easy, isn't it, to go to another country and produce that. I just think that Ten Hag, now that Tammy Abraham's played in Europe, Ten Hag's European influence might be able to, and the way that Ten Hag plays, by the way, with 4-3-3, Mikey was absolutely spot on. The way that he plays is very fluid. He plays a pendulum type of football. They attack as a unit and defend as a unit. And I think he might be able to get the best out of Tammy Abraham. But I do take your point. I think, it would be a risk. But I think a better risk than someone like Nunes, who by the way, I agree with Abdel completely and the rest of you guys. He hasn't got the hold-up ability. His off-the-ball play is not so good. And actually, nor is Haaland's hold-up play. And his first touch is Lukaku-esque. it's abysmal. But having said that, his quality for the goal, and he's saying, you can't get the one with the other. The reason I went with, I suggested, and it is an out of the box thing, and that for Werner is his absolute pace, and he has got an eye for goal, and he's just showing it just at this point in time with Chelsea at the minute. He's very, very dangerous. And I think with somebody like Sancho, although he hasn't got a physical presence, by the way, let's be clear, but I think with somebody like Sancho, and maybe you bring in Abraham and Werner, Werner to play on the wing and Abraham as a focal point and Sancho, it would be a very, very dangerous front three. But you've then got to get the personnel behind them to feed them and keep that defence solid. So it is a bit of a balance to that. But that's the only reason I mentioned those two. But I do take your point, Sadie. It is a good point, mate. And
you think Sebastian Haller, he was really a disaster at West Ham, and you think he's turned him into a prolific goal scorer in the Champions League as well as in the Dutch league. So I think it's a fair point. And
he's done it with Tadic as well, didn't he? Tadic was average as well. He's now the skipper, so he's got form for. But again, you can't look away from the fact he's doing it. And you rightly say, by the way, Haller, with the Champions League, that's the critical point there is Champions League football. Same with Tadic, because he was an absolute waste of space, wasn't he?
He was.
It's West Ham. You're absolutely right. So maybe it's something we could look at. But the problem with our fan base is, and me and Abdul have spoken about this many occasions on the tactical preview, is they won't look at players like a Tammy Abraham. We want to be always looking at the types of players you mentioned, like a Kane, a Benzema, or a Haaland. I think on form, Abraham's one of the. I think he's either 10 or top 10 in the world of current strikers at the minute. It was just a thought process. Really.
No, it's a good one. I mean, I'll just throw one out there. Really, Michael, Abdul. Sorry, did you want to say something previously? Anyway, there.
Yeah, it was actually earlier on Ronaldo. The thing is, the discourse around him, it's either he's the best thing ever or he's the source of all problems, and that was never the case. The case with him when we got him in was that he is a problem that caused others to happen. It's kind of like a spiral effect, a domino effect. So you got him. He is not the right profile for the forwards that you have, and that caused an unbalance in the forward line while you already have an unbalance in the midfield. So you now have two unbalances, both in midfield and in the forward line. That opened up your defensive line to be completely exposed to everything. And this is why you had that horrible run under Oli. Oli didn't suddenly become a stupid manager. It's just that unbalance that happened between the midfield and the forward line by adding Ronaldo, while we already had an existing unbalance in midfield, opened up our entire team and basically exposed the defensive line to all sorts of attacks. And that is the thing that people say about Ronaldo, that him coming in was the wrong decision because it opened up a can of worms. It's not that he came and just destroyed it all because he's a bad person or he's not a good player. That was not the argument about him at all. He's a good player, but for a different team. A team that plays to a different style, or a team that at least had everything already, had the entire puzzle already almost complete, and they just added him as a cherry on top, not a team that was already getting built.
Do you think Solskjaer wanted him?
No, I don't think so.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think he did.
No. It's the Sir Alex Ferguson, Rio, and Evra. They don't want him to go to City. That was the idea. Which was stupid because he wasn't going to go to City.
Because I wanted to. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, it doesn't fit. It wouldn't fit their system. I mean, they play a false nine completely, don't they? So it just wouldn't have worked, would it? But it leads me on quite nicely because I wanted to talk about the protest, and I felt like the Ronaldo signing really was more of a corporate merchandise type signing than anything else. I mean, I'm sure in terms of how much it generated business and revenue for the company brand of Manchester United was massive. So just, I mean, obviously massive protest today at Old Trafford. Stu, What did you think of the process? Were they justified? Were they relevant? Did they get the message across?
Is it justified? I guess, yeah. Is it relevant? I guess, yeah. Will anything happen? No. And the reason it won't happen is because of Chelsea's sale at 3 billion. It makes Manchester United an 8 billion target now. And that's 5 billion to buy it, plus your sell on clause after that. And there's very, very few people who've got 8 billion quid or 5 billion quid, and they're going to want to see a 3 billion return on it, because that's exactly what the Glazers will see. Whether we like them or not, they will see a 3 billion return on a $250 million outlay as part of a leverage buyout. And I love what the guys are doing. I don't necessarily know a great deal about the 1958 group, but from what I've seen today, it's gone down peacefully and without a hitch. And that's all you can ask, because the original protest was poor form. You know, Manchester United fans are better than that, as people were better than that, and as football lovers were better than that. And I said it, and I took a lot of criticism and a lot of stick over it. Oh, you know, we did the right thing breaking into Old Trafford. You didn't. You did completely the wrong thing. And the other thing is, you've got to understand something about billionaires. Billionaires don't give a flying F what anyone else thinks. All they care about is money. And you will never hit Manchester United in the pocket. It just won't happen. Whether you buy a shirt through DK, wherever it is, or not, it won't matter. It matters not to them if 55,000 people don't buy any drinks or food inside. It doesn't matter. They're a global entity. We're a global successful brand. We are one of the best known brands in the world. You know, we're alongside Aston Martin. We're alongside Apple. We're in that kind of ilk of brand. And so if Chelsea goes at 3 billion, you bet your bottom dollar it's going to take a lot of money. And then herein lies the problem. Do we want another leverage buyout? Because is really anyone going to slap 5 billion quid on the table unless you're a country? And do we want a country in charge? Says no to both of those. And these guys, the more you antagonize certain people, the more they'll just dig their heels in and say, bollocks to you, I don't care. And they'll just keep watching their dividends come in, which, by the way, people can moan and whinge about. It's only like you and me getting paid every month. They're just getting paid off something they own. You know, we got to work to get paid. So I like what they're doing, and I think continue doing it. But I think there needs to be a better appeal way somewhere rather than just protesting, because you're going to run out of steam eventually. But I don't disagree with it. It's a difficult one. I think we'll all probably find it quite difficult, because I think we all can understand the value and the reasons why. But is it really worth it at the end of the day? That's kind of where I am with it.
I suppose, yeah, completely. I do agree with what you're saying. I think, you know, is that message going to get across? Are they going to care? I suppose the fact that the fans know that it matters to them and that they're showing solidarity is probably enough, isn't it? Whether it makes any change or not is probably the positive, really. So I think it's good for that reason. I think the branding itself, you know, you mentioned some big blue chip companies that we probably sit alongside as well, Stu. And the thing is, those brands are probably doing very well, whereas United have, you know, we're all concerned that it's deteriorating, aren't we, a little bit? And we just want these bigwigs to care as much as we do. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of all for peaceful protest. I'm with you on the fact that do I think it actually makes a difference? I don't know, but I think that we should care enough to get up and show that we care. So yeah,
I agree.
No, I
agree
with you. But Michael, what are your thoughts? Do you sort of agree with the protesting today? Do you think it, you know, like Stu and myself, do you think it would have made a difference or not? Or what do you think on it, Michael?
I think like I like the protest like idea. Like obviously, go if you have a right to protest, and like obviously I agree that the Glazers should be out. But like Stu said, it's not gonna matter. I don't like since I'm from America. I know the NFL team like personally, the one that they own, and they won like a championship I think 20 years ago. And after that, they didn't make the playoffs again for like 18 years. And that's their baby right there. That's the company they inherited from like their dad and everything. So if they don't care about that, what would make us think that they would care about Man United? And like Sue said, it would take like $8 billion. I think since Chelsea's going for $3 billion, we're talking about $8 billion for United. The only people that could realistically afford that is either another American owner, and I don't think the fans would want another American owner, or a state, and no one wants a state either. First of all, the fans wouldn't want it, and second of all, I don't think the Premier League would allow a state to take over Man United because it would kind of create an imbalance in the Premier League because we're talking about a club that's already self-sufficient in its own money. We don't need to like have any money pumped into us for us to run like Man City needed or Newcastle.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a club that makes $700 million revenue by itself, and then you would add a state which is worth like trillions of dollars, add their own money. We're talking about United could probably spend like $800 million in the transfer market. So that would create an imbalance. So in a way, we're pretty much stuck with the Glazers, and protests might work. I think the only thing that would realistically work is United get relegated, which will never happen because we're too big of a club to get relegated, in my opinion. So, and then if you get relegated, then the money, that's the aspect. So they could keep protesting. I hope like it creates some kind of difference. Maybe like to the Glazers, it'll wake them up a little bit. I doubt it. But I've always said that if the Glazers could just add some footballing structure, just some footballing people to the structure, then and just like step away a little bit. We're kind of seeing that a little bit. We still haven't done it fully, but Ralph was decent in it. Murtaugh. We'll see what happens with this deputy director in a couple weeks when that decision gets made. I would like Paul Mitchell from Monaco. That's my ideal target for that. So just add more football people, and then they could just sit back and collect their dividends and just let the footballing people do it. Because I think someone should just explain to the Glazers that if you win, you make more money. They're businessmen. That's all they care about at the end of the day. So just sit them down, do a little PowerPoint presentation, and just explain to them how actually winning the Premier League and winning Champions League actually makes you more money. And it's that simple. I want to go down to Florida and do it myself. I'll take the 2-hour flight and go do it myself in Tampa.
Yeah.
But obviously I can't do that. So just something like that. And then just let the footballing people make the decisions. And it's that simple. But I hope they do keep protesting because that's the only way to apply some pressure on them. Because they will hear what the fans say. Whether they do something about it, that's up to them. But the more you talk about them, the more protests. We saw with the protests already. We saw like the moment they heard about a protest, Ten Hag got announced, like the verbal agreement, all that. They didn't have to announce that this week, but they heard the protest, like, let's do something about it. So it's all about a PR thing with United. So the more they hear about protests, the more nice stuff they'll push. The redevelopment of Old Trafford, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, it's a good pitch, Michael. You had me on board anyway, that's for sure. So I'm sure we'll all chip in and get you that flight down to Florida or wherever it is. But no, yeah, totally agree. Abdul, what's your views on the protest? Similar to Michael's on that one? You kind of like not too sure that the Glazers are going to up sticks and move after that?
No. I mean, like if the protests back in 2005 and the one in 2010 did not work, I don't think it will work now. The thing is, for something like that, for a protest to like uplift or like dethrone the Glazers, basically. It has to be very big. Like it has to be a massive protest where you actually stop the day-to-day activities of the club, like to that extent. Like and unfortunately, and I'm not a person who advocates for violence or anything, but it can't be peaceful. Like if you take it from all the protests that happened in the Arab Spring, like I wasn't there, but I was monitoring because Egypt had that. For you to overthrow some regime, it had to be that. It had to be a little bit violent, a little bit of, not pretty. It's just something that's not pretty, But if there's just a couple of thousand people are going to stand outside the stadium peacefully and just say Glazers out, they'll be like, okay, and just another day they'll shout at us and they will leave, and that's it. They really don't care. They probably didn't even know that the protest happened. Only the people who are working at the club knew, and then they tried to release the news about Ten Hag to make them happy a little bit. So yeah, like what Michael was saying actually was something that I thought about too. Like I was thinking about, I was like, the only thing I really want from the Glazers is just a footballing structure. I don't care if they're taking the dividends. They own the business. They own the club. So of course they're going to take the dividends, right? But I just want a little bit of care towards the club. Like put a structure in place and let it self-sustain itself as it's already doing. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing I want from them, basically. We don't want more than that. Like, and because there is no structure, that's why, like, United has been decaying over the years.
Yeah.
Now, the sad thing though, like when we had Van Gaal, he noticed that we don't have the structure and he tried to build it. By bringing in the science departments, the data analytics, putting cameras and on the pitches and stuff like that. And then we went completely the opposite direction, south, to a very old school manager like Jose Mourinho. And he is like, nah, scrap all that. I will monitor them, you know? And then we got Ollie, who tried to modernize the club as well and went back to the Van Gaal way, right? But then thing with the recruitment wasn't fixed, and then results, you know what happened with the results, and he got sacked too. But I think the only good thing that happened during Ollie's time was that we hired somewhat of a technical director and a football director. So maybe these guys will try to steer the ship down that, footballing structure way, and getting a Ranić, getting a Ten Hag are signs. We are yet to see the fruition of those, and maybe in a couple of years' time, we'll look back and be like, you know what? Ollie's era was good. We actually had a footballing structure started there, and then it went on to become something really nice. So we're yet to see that. We'll see. Our hopes are lying on Darren Fletcher and Morta right now.
Yeah, well, it's totally think that it's something that we've needed for a long, long time, isn't it? And that's probably the reasons you see the other teams escaping from us now that they've got this structure they've built. Sati, what do you reckon to the protest today?
I think what's key to know about the protests is that I think this is where a lot of opposition fans and a lot of other teams, a lot of rivalry, think that just because the Glazers spend money, everything's okay. That's what every common thing is. The problem with the protests is it's got to be a continuing and a consistent basis, because it has to be led throughout each game or each season. It can't just be sort of pick me when you want to choose and do it. It has to be a consistent basis, which what Abdul just said there, it happened in 2005, happened in 2010 after we won 3 league titles in a row. So that just showed you how passionate Manchester United fans are about the Glazers. Now, my issue I've always had with the Glazers was that they used Manchester United as a cash cow. They used us as a cash cow. They took all the money out of the club and obviously to fund other things that they needed to. Now, as a business point of view, yeah, it worked for them. But they actually disincluded everything what Manchester United means to the fans and as a club and as a football team. And that's what the biggest issue is with the Glazers. Now, when the appointment of Jose Mourinho come in and they extended the contract, they gave him a 2-year contract, but didn't back him and stuff like that, that's when you started seeing the cracks appear and you thought to yourself, right, something is not adding up here. And then Woodward got a lot of backlash from this as well. But the problem was with Ed Woodward in the commercial side of the business and that side of the club, he was really good. They brought in a lot of revenue. They did the right things there. But when it comes to the actual footballing aspect, none of them had the clue or had any knowledge about the club and about the running. And it did take Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to come in, to get John Murtough, to get Darren Fletcher to be in them director positions in order to understand what Manchester United means as a football club. I think Van Gaal said it as well in the recent press conference, I think a few months ago. He said Manchester United is not a football club; it's a business. That's what we're known as. He goes, we follow a business model. He goes, all they like to do is care about the dividends which they get, which is fine, which we all agree. Yep, that's your business. As long as you're taking something and you're earning from it, that's not a problem. But at least run your business properly. At least run it efficiently. Put the right people in the right places. I mean, we've been screaming for a director of football for the last 5-6 years, which all Liverpool have, which City have, which Chelsea have. And that's why they're reaping the benefits now. Champions League finals, back-to-back Champions League finals, back-to-back leagues. They're winning the FA Cups. They're doing stuff right. We are behind in terms of that structural development of our club. Now, the protests are good. Again, I only agree with sort of peaceful protests while at the games, but there needs to be a consistent basis. It can't just be the fact of, right, we've got six league games left or whatever it is left of the season, we're going to protest every single game. No, you've got to do it from start to finish. It's got to have some substance to it. It has to have a bit of fight with it. And that's when people will start backing it that's when people will getting onto the board of the idea of that, you drive the Glazers out, but then again, what you said, you get run by a state, or you get run by a different company, and it's that moral ethic again. Are they ever going to be happy? Probably not, because there's still going to be a divide. They shouldn't have bought us. We shouldn't have gone with them. We should have gone with them. And that's what it is in football now. It's just so toxic is the right word to say, because everybody feels that this is how it should be done. Where if you look at clubs like Liverpool, City, for example, they're the two clubs I have to use, unfortunately, but they're the ones that are doing it right at the moment in terms of everyone believes in the same project and the same aspect. Manchester United at the moment don't, and that's what reflects on the pitch. If they don't believe in the manager, the performance ain't going to be well. The manager doesn't believe on the people above him, he's not going to be able to perform well. And that's what it is. It's just a continuing papering over the cracks for the last 7-8 years. Probably, without saying it, Sir Alex Ferguson got out when he did, because he probably knew. That's the biggest thing with this club. And I just think the protests, they need to be a continuing basis. I do agree with them. I mean, I've always wanted.
Oh, we lost that.
I don't know what's happened.
Oh, is it gone?
Oh, I think it cut me off. Did it cut me
He
off?
was on a roll. He was on a roll there as well.
You want to roll there?
Did it cut me
mate,
off? Did I come off there?
Yeah. Oh, you just froze.
We got you back.
Yeah, you
We
froze.
got you back. Yeah, we got you back. Well, just to,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll kind of.
Can see
Yeah.
you.
Can
Can you
you
hear
hear
me?
me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. we can hear you.
So in terms of the protest, I do agree with it, but it just needs to be done on a consistent basis, and everyone can get on board with it, and just get Manchester United back into the footballing aspect. And that's all I wish, and that's all I want as fans. Take your money, because that's your business. We've all got businesses. We all work in businesses, and we rightly so should receive our dividends at the end of the season. But please put the footballing aspects in the right positions.
No, well, no, I totally agree, and yeah, hopefully we will see some change. But obviously next season there's massive room for change, isn't there? So I'm sure we will see something at least. So I mean, and just to kind of touch on that and have a bit of a final word before we sort of cap off the match review and the hour. Just a bit of a final word from Stu on that. Obviously, Ten Hag's coming in. I don't want to dwell too much on the Liverpool game. I'm sure we'll touch upon that in a couple of days' time. I know it's only Tuesday, the game, so not many more days to recover from that. So recover from this game, straight into that one. But Ten Hag's coming in, some positives there, Stu, in the background. And yeah, just a final word on today's match and anything else you want to touch upon leading into the Tuesday.
Well, yeah, I mean, final word. Look, we got the win. 3 points. It wasn't pretty. Well, it was actually on occasions, but it wasn't really pretty overall. Can we really look forward to Tuesday? Look, when I was playing, I couldn't wait for the tough games. That's what I used to really enjoy the tough games. If I knew I was going to have 90 minutes of brutality, oh yeah, wow, bring it on. Couldn't wait for it. You never want an easy game in football. You always want a difficult game. And these players need to be able to get up for that game. They need to look at it, go into training tomorrow, do a bit of a warm down, look at where they are in the league, look at what they could achieve come Saturday evening with 2 wins. And that's what I would be looking at. If it was me personally and I was getting ready for these 2 games, that's exactly what I'd be looking at. Look at what we can achieve as a unit. And then, come the summer, Ten Hag's got a massive job. He's going to have to get them back in early doors because of the World Cup in November. So, he's going to have to be training, I would imagine, pre-season, beginning of June, second week of June. He's going to have to bring everything forward. And we just got to look to the future. But if it was me tonight, I'll be going home and I'll be looking at where we could possibly be this time Saturday evening.
No, thanks, Stu. Yeah, thank you for that. Michael, final word on the game today?
Yeah, just happy we got the 3 points, I guess. I mean, I've been if you guys see me on Twitter, I've been advocating for an 8th place finish because I don't want Europe at all next year, considering the World Cup, like Stu said. It's going to be a really jam-packed schedule, so maybe the once-a-week football might be the most beneficial, but United seems to want to push for the top 4, so I love UCL. That's the standard I want to be at, so it wouldn't be the worst thing. But yeah, good result. Happy for Ronaldo. He got his hat trick. I think he's almost at the 100-goal mark for the Premier League all time. So I know that's something he would wishes to aspire to. So good for him on that. And then for Liverpool, one thing I gotta say, I'm happy I have class on Tuesday, so I don't have to watch that game because it could get really ugly. So I just hope United don't lose 5-0 again. Maybe just don't lose 5-0 and embarrass So just hope maybe if they get a result, I'm gonna celebrate it. I'll be great. But I'm
we'll
just
all
gonna
be
lower my
celebrating with you,
expectations.
mate. That's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, and then like Sue said, next Saturday is the big one. That's the one I'm looking forward most to.
Oh, brilliant. Now, Abdul, final word from you on the match today.
I mean, yeah, good. We got the 3 points. I hope it can help us get a UCL. I mean, nothing beats United being in the Champions League, but it will be an early exit next season. But anyway, it's just yeah. I guess the only positive for me is that we got the 3 points. And I hope that we don't get embarrassed on Tuesday. That's all.
Yeah, me too.
I think
Me too.
if we get a draw with Liverpool, that would be an equivalent of a trophy for me because they won't win the league.
Yeah, true.
That's true.
Yeah. We've got to stop something, haven't we? If we can stop that title challenge, that'll be an achievement in itself, won't it? I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure.
Saturday, final word from you on the match today.
Enjoy it. We've got the 3 points. We've won the game. It's nice to actually have 3 points on the board and actually see a green W sign for once. Go into Tuesday, expect the unexpected. Could walk away with a point, could walk away with a win, or you could just get battered. So that's the only way to look at it. Just have a bit of optimism, have a bit of faith, and it's the hope that actually does really kill you in the end, doesn't it? But we should just enjoy this moment because we've deserved it as fans to have a victory and go into Tuesday. Let's see what we can do.
No, well, no, I appreciate that, guys. Appreciate your insight for the last hour. So yeah, like you say, 3 points today into Tuesday against Liverpool, and we'll see. It's at Anfield as well, so double trouble. But yeah, don't forget to like this. For anybody that's still watching, and obviously those that have, share and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a nice one, guys. I gotta head out. Take care.
Abdul, good